A gift of apples, but none for President Putin. This is one Polish restaurant owner's defiant response to Russia's retaliatory embargo on European fruit and vegetables. Giving free apples to customers typifies a wry Polish riposte to the punitive measure. Across the country, people are urged to eat Polish fruit. Newspapers publish apple-based recipes, and restaurateurs like Tomasz create new dishes, patriotically using Polish apples. The embargo has left a sour taste that Poles are determined to sweeten with a little home cooking.
We're doing this as a solidarity gesture because we want to boost apple consumption and help the apple producers.
In his kitchen, Chef Tomasz prepares a traditional feast, Polish duck on Polish apples.
By adding apples to this delicious duck, I add a slightly sweet taste. In a way, it can be compared to the taste of berries. It's like adding an orange slice. Without the apple, this is just roast duck. The apple is the crowning glory of this dish.
Across Warsaw, the message is a little tongue-in-cheek. Eat apples, it's your patriotic duty, say the billboards. The poster campaign evokes memories of the Solidarity movement, adopting its iconic imagery. But for fruit growers, this is no joke.
Polish producers will suffer losses of about 400 million euros this year because of the Russian embargo. The European Union has offered compensation of 125 million euros, but that's not enough. Many Polish farmers won't benefit from the compensation scheme because it's underfunded.
Moscow imposed its ban on European food in August, following the EU's decision to sanction Russia's banking, oil and defence sectors over the Kremlin's alleged actions in Ukraine. Poland feels the effects more than most, as we found out in Sandomierz, a medieval town with a long apple-growing tradition dating back to the 12th century. Harvesting is underway at the vast Rafał plantation, with some 50 workers busy picking fruit. Rafał is a cooperative of 15 apple producers. Collectively, the sprawling orchards yield 10,000 tons of apples every year. Now, because of the ban, some producers are contemplating destroying part of the harvest or giving it to charity. The seasonal workers are worried.
The apples can't be exported to Russia anymore. We're not selling them.
Last year, fruit exports from the EU to Russia amounted to more than €1 billion. Poland is Europe's biggest apple producer, and the loss of those exports is a heavy blow for Sandomierz.
Putin and all those high-placed decision-makers will not suffer from the embargo. The ordinary people suffer, those who work here producing, harvesting. When the owner doesn't earn any money, he can't employ all these people, and we can't earn a living.
As the smaller apples are sorted for processing into juice, the president of the Apple Growers Cooperative tries to figure out how to save the region's fruit industry from being smashed to pulp by the Russian embargo. His plan B is to look beyond traditional markets.
Usually we sell 60 to 70% of our produce to the Russian market. Now, as a consequence of the Russian food embargo against the EU, we have to search for other markets in Poland, in Europe, in Asia and Africa. Poles could eat more apples. Today we eat on average 14 to 15 kilos per year. We could easily consume more than 20 kilos and all our problems would be solved.
There are other solutions closer to home, with a booming domestic cider market. The town of Białogard, near the border with Ukraine, is a major cider centre. Amid the vast fermentation tanks at one plant, we meet managers Artur and Marcin. They explain that falling apple prices and changes to the tax regime have enabled them to massively increase production.
Last year, Poland produced 2 million litres of cider. This year, we're looking at a cider output of 10 to 15 million litres. And in 2 to 5 years, production could reach 100 million litres. Very soon we'll need between 100,000 and 140,000 tonnes of apples each year. In former times, up to 1 million tonnes of apples were exported to Russia. The ongoing Polish cider boom could soon absorb 10 to 15% of our former Russian apple exports.
But other areas of Poland's food sector are feeling the pain. The region bordering Belarus is famous for its pork. The Moszkwa meat plant has lost over €1 million since February, when Russia banned Polish pork over isolated cases of swine fever. The disease has spread westward from Russia, but while Russian vets struggle to contain the outbreak, pork from Europe has been banned.
The EU should create a solidarity fund. Every member should contribute. Some meat processing plants have problems repaying their loans. They need help. This solidarity fund should buy our meat products and export them to poor countries in Africa or give them to charity in Ukraine. Our neighbours are facing the consequences of a terrible war.
At a nearby farm, Dariusz has almost 1,000 pigs. He says some farmers have had to reduce their livestock by around 40% because of the ban. In 2013, the EU sold €1 billion worth of pork to Russia, supplying almost 20% of the Russian market. In April, the European Commission launched a case against the Russian embargo at the WTO. Brussels believes the swine fever claims are a pretense.
Our farms are secure and fenced. Our veterinary control system is strict. Tests are frequent. Everything is completely under control. The Russian embargo is politically motivated. It's just politics. Nothing more.
The Russian embargo has costs for both sides. Last year, over a third of Russian food imports came from the EU. Europe's food trade with Russia was worth €12 billion. Now, as food prices rise in Russia, Europe is desperately seeking alternative markets.